Hello, and welcome to another video from Ellensburg Amplifier Repair and Service. And today I'm just going to go over again rail voltages. And I am pounding down on the amplifiers that I will service and the amplifiers that I won't service. And I got a lot of negativity on the last video I put out when it comes to not servicing certain amplifiers based on input voltage. And I'm sorry, but I don't care what other people think. I have a very good, solid foundation of electrical knowledge and how electrons do their work. And other people just may not have the same knowledge or background that I have, and they aren't aware of why I say what I say when it comes to servicing and not servicing specific amplifiers. There are situations where electricity will arc, and it's just the nature of the beast. And there's factors that determine. There are factors that are involved in electricity and PCB trace arcing. You have temperature, humidity, altitude. That's just your external variables. You have your physical variables, which is your moisture content of your PCB, dust, dirt accumulations, oil accumulations, and even the solder mask of the PCB itself will change properties over time based on conditions. And this is where problems come in. I lost my, hold on. Let me get my fine pointer here for you guys. I'm not going to say what amplifier this is, but this picture is from this board. Now, the manufacturer of this amplifier states that this will run up to 18 volts. And yeah, well, I mean, in perfect conditions, yes, it probably would run at 18 volts but that's perfect conditions, and we're not accounting for length of time or how long it will maintain 18 volts. But you can see right here, let me zoom in. Let me just show you guys. Let me just zoom in on this picture here a little bit for you. If this thing will do it. Yeah, there we go. Let me zoom in there. Oh, and right here you can see this is key right here, 160 working volts on this capacitor. I keep that in mind. But this is the picture of the trace. And you can see right here, right here where the copper is blown out and the copper is blown out. This capacitor did not cause that. The rim of the capacitor is not blown out. Usually if you have vibration damage, you will find that it'll blow a hole in your capacitor rim there while it's sitting there arcing across. But this is clearly a situation where there has been some arcing that was involved here, which again goes back to all the variables: temperature, humidity, altitude, oils, dirts, moistures within the PCB, and any breakdown of the solder mask. And voltage arcs across points, and that's why you see on traces are rounded. You know, they do their best to round the corners. Sorry, as my camera, I can't stop the focus of this particular camera, but you can see where they just rounded those corners the best they could to prevent the migration. What do they call that? Electrical migration or electron migration? There's a term for it. But, sorry, this is going to probably go out of focus, but there's a point here. There was a point here, and there was a point here, and there was a point here. This is all blown out again. So the customer, I do believe, stated that they attempted to run 2 of these amps at 18 volts, And this was the result. And the manufacturer with a straight face lists this particular model as being 18 volts, which I can't believe they would hold a straight face to that. So it's kind of really out of focus, but here, let me see if I can focus in here. The camera here is just making a mess of my writing here. But I have different rail voltages for the specific turn ratio of the transformers. And most Korean boards are that 1 to 10, 1 to 9, 1 to 10 ratio on their power supplies. So for every 12 volts, let's say you have a 1 to 10 power supply, for every 12 volts in, you're going to have 120 volts on the rails. You go up to 18 volts, you're going to have 180 volts on the rail. And that's where you're going to have a problem with this. As you can see, that capacitor is 160 working volts. So thank goodness that I don't believe this is a 1 to 11. There's no way this could be a 1 to 11. Because at 1 to 11 at 18 volts, the thing's almost 200 volts, plus minus. So that ain't going to work. But as you increase your input voltage, you substantially increase the chances of the electron migration and trace arcing. Again, based on your external variables. If this was in a dry environment, no moisture anywhere, this amp probably would have ran at 18 volts. And this is where I have a problem. So if I work on an amp that the manufacturer states it'll run at 18 volts, and the customer hooks it up at 18 volts, thinking darn well that they know the manufacturer says it'll run at 18 volts. But customer doesn't know or isn't aware that there's many factors that go into that to be able to run that kind of voltage. So what happens is they burn up, especially let's say after I repair it, they bring it back, they hook it up to 18 volts, and they burn it up. You know, if I was working for a company, you know, as a warranty tech, then it comes back, and then I have to fix that problem. And this is just one of many areas on the PCB that has points where your electrons can migrate. So I may fix one point here, but there's, for instance, there's 8 primary rail capacitors right here. What are the other trace conditions like? The unknown. The unknowns is what costs us money. And so what I do is I just limit what I work on based on what the manufacturer is claiming their amps can do. I don't support anything over OEM charging. I don't support anything under 1 ohm. Those are just factors that I just don't support. I'm not saying you can't do it. Anyone can do whatever they want, but I just don't support it. So I am now have added many more amplifiers to the list of amplifiers that I won't service. So yeah, as I was noted down here at the bottom of my fine print that you guys can't read, you know, this is why I have all this written on here, trying to, you know, discuss and understand, you know, this particular situation. And as it was stated, no such thing as stable. A lot of people like to use the word stable. There's no such thing as stable for an amplifier in a vehicle when there are temperature and humidity variables. There's no such thing. And oh yeah, even altitude. And down here I caught the last note. Even altitude plays a role. This amp was punched in China or Korea or wherever it may be, overseas. This got punched overseas. This comes to the States. Who's it sold to? It could be sold to someone at 4,000 feet. It could be sold to someone at sea level. It could be sold to someone in the east or west coast where the moisture is out the roof, or down south when your humidity is 100%. Or this got sold to a customer that's in the middle of the Sahara Desert, dry as a bone, and no humidity. So you can see the variables. So I think that's where the engineer was trying to knock the point to me that, and I agree with him, there's no such thing as, I'm going to air quote this, guys, stable. There's no such thing as stable, because nobody lives in an exact environment. So that is going to be my high voltage rant of the day. Manufacturers need to keep numbers realistic for the demographics of the areas that these amps are sold in. Yeah, you start to notice when you're in business, you get a lot of customers that are from high humidity areas or high moisture areas. Not so many customers from desert areas where it's even hotter, but it's drier. So voltage plays a role, a huge role. Keep your voltages down, unless you're just going to go out, your goal is to burn amps up. Keep your voltages what I call nominal. If you are thinking about bumping up your voltage because you just want more, get more amps, get bigger amps. Yeah, that's just common sense, So I just wanted to go over why I will see this, and I will immediately tell you I will not repair this. I am not going to be responsible for a manufacturer saying that these things can run at 18 volts. I'm not going to be responsible for this because you can't run these at 18 volts in abnormal conditions. So thanks guys for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up. Don't like it, hit the thumbs down. I really don't care. I just want to put the information out of why amps fail. And there's so many reasons why amplifiers fail. And they always come back and blame the tech. So guys, yeah, don't know what to say. I can just tell you the reality of what goes on. So thanks guys, we'll catch you on the next one, and stay safe out there. Keep your fingers out of the rails, because if it's high enough to jump and arc across, it's probably high enough to hurt you. So stay safe guys. Thanks a lot. We'll catch you on the next one.